£70 million being prepared for a midfielder who has already become a sensation in the Premier League. At the same time, another star is valued at £130 million, and his name appears on the radar of a historic rival. And as if that wasn't enough, the Real Madrid coach dropped statements that could completely change the future of players like Vinicius, Rodrigo, and even the great star Mbappe. And there's more. A boy worth €63 million could get his first chance as a starter this weekend. And to top it off, a veteran sends a direct message to the club about his renewal. Before telling every detail, you know what to do. Subscribe to the channel now, activate the notification bell, and let's go together on this journey, because only here you'll find the most explosive summary of Real Madrid. According to the Spanish newspaper AS, Real Madrid already has its eye on a highly desired Liverpool target. Adam Wharton, Crystal Palace's jewel, valued at no less than £70 million. £70 million for a kid who is only 21 years old, but has already become one of the most talked about engines of the Premier League. Liverpool wants the Englishman because they need to strengthen their midfield and give Gravenberch a breather, who has been overloaded. But it's not just Liverpool dreaming of this. Manchester City and Manchester United are also circling, ready to join the fight. But then the shark appears, Real Madrid. And you know, Madridistas, when Real enters a race, the story changes. The idea now is clear. Real Madrid wants to build a calm, patient operation, a slow burn, as they say in England. Build bridges, get close to the player, prepare the ground, and at the right time, strike. In the end, the scene everyone already knows. Wharton dressed in white, lifting trophies at the Santiago Bernabeu. And the most impressive part, Real doesn't even desperately need another midfielder right now. The team already has a midfield loaded with Bellingham, Valverde, Tchouaméni, and Camavinga. But Florentino thinks ahead, thinks of the next 10 years. And if there's one thing history has taught us, it's that Real never waits for the problem to arrive to solve it. They anticipate it. And now I throw the bomb to you. £70 million. Would you put that check on the table to secure Wharton? Do you think it's worth betting so high on a boy still in development? Or should that money be saved for another, more established name, someone already at a world-class level? I want to see this debate explode in the comments, because this decision could define the next decade of our midfield. Now hold this one. According to Defensa Central, a statement from Florentino Perez may have opened a gap for Liverpool to dream of none other than Vinicius Junior. The Brazilian is valued at £130 million. Yes, you heard right. £130 million, even less than Liverpool tried to pay for Alexander Isak. Remember? It was £110 million, rejected by Newcastle. And even so, Isak was furious, even clashed with his own club. And then comes the comparison. While the English struggle to convince Newcastle to release Isak, Vinicius' name already emerges as a possible alternative. But we're talking about a player who is not just another forward. Vinicius is a symbol, a world star, Ballon d'Or runner-up, a Champions League man, Manchester City's nightmare on European nights. His salary? £350,000 per week at Real Madrid, and he would certainly demand more in any negotiation. For Liverpool's finances, it would be a massive challenge. But even so, the mere idea circulates because Florentino, when presenting Trent Alexander-Arnold, said, "You came from one of the most important clubs in the world, Liverpool. We have a great relationship with them." That was enough. A diplomatic phrase from the president became fuel for the English press to fire up speculation. And you know, Madridistas, when it comes to Real Madrid, any gesture, any word becomes a global headline. But let's be direct. Florentino is not the kind of man to hand over his jewel just like that. He didn't do it with Cristiano, didn't do it with Modric, didn't do it with Ramos. They all had their soap operas. They all stayed until the very limit. And with Vinicius, the symbol of the new generation, the game will be even tougher. Deep down, this news shows one thing. Real Madrid has such a powerful squad that even Premier League giants, clubs that spend billions, find themselves dreaming of our players. It's proof that the Bernabeu remains the ultimate reference in world football. And I ask you again, would you sell Vini for £130 million? Or for you, is there no value high enough to take the Brazilian out of Real Madrid? I want to see this debate set fire to the comments. Because here we're talking about identity, symbol, and much more than money. Now let's go to the bench, or rather, to the microphone. Before the match against Real Oviedo, coach Xabi Alonso was bombarded with questions from the press. And, Madridistas, he didn't dodge any of them. First, the hottest topic, Vinicius Junior. They asked if the Brazilian was at risk of losing his spot, and Alonso answered firmly, "Everyone is important. Everyone can be a starter. No one is untouchable." That's strong, Madridistas. Because it means that not even Vinicius, the team's symbol in recent years, has a guaranteed seat. Alonso is showing that with him, there is no star above the team. Played well, you play. Didn't perform, bench. Period. That's pure meritocracy. Then came the question about Rodrigo, who is surrounded by rumors about a possible departure. Alonso didn't hesitate. The season has just started. I talked to everyone, including him. The decisions are mine and mine alone. That's a direct message, Madridistas. Alonso is saying, it doesn't matter what's said off the pitch. It doesn't matter what the press speculates. The one who decides is him. He's the one who chooses the starting XI. He's the one who defines who goes in, who comes out, and who sits on the bench. And of course, we couldn't miss the name that shakes everyone, Kylian Mbappe. Alonso was brief but precise. He is fundamental. My role is to help him win games and fit him into the team. Translation: Mbappe is a key piece, a man of decision, but he also needs to adapt. Alonso knows that having stars scattered across the pitch isn't enough. You need to turn individual talent into a strong collective. And that, Madridistas, is exactly what made him such a respected coach since his Bayer Leverkusen days. Now, pay close attention. Alonso is building his own identity at Real Madrid. He's not a coach who will simply live in the shadow of Ancelotti or Zidane. He's making it clear that he will impose his firm hand, that he will manage stars without fear, and that he will get the maximum out of every player. And I'll say it loud and clear. This is the style that can take Real Madrid even further. Because talent, we already have plenty. What we need is a commander who knows how to balance ego, effort, and discipline. And Alonso, by the looks of it, was born for this. And I want to know, do you trust Alonso to handle a squad full of stars, where anyone can be a starter or on the bench from week to week? Leave it in the comments, because this discussion promises to be hot. And since we're talking about discipline and hierarchy, let's close this part with some behind-the-scenes drama. Antonio Rudiger. The German defender, who has a contract until 2026, was asked about his future, and he didn't hide his position. In an interview with Defensa Central, he shot back, "I don't want to leave Real Madrid, but I accept what the club decides. We have time to talk." Madridistas, pay attention to these words. That's Rudiger showing loyalty, but also humility. He wants to stay. He wants to renew, but he won't impose anything. He knows that at Real Madrid, the club is in charge, not the player. The German is 32 years old and understands the house's clear rules. Players over 30 only get one-year renewals. It's internal policy, a tradition of decades. It was like this with Sergio Ramos, with Pepe, with Modric, with Kroos. No one is above the institution. But at the same time, the scenario isn't simple, because the board is already looking ahead. The name of Ibrahima Konate appears as a possible replacement. Besides that, we have Eder Militao back, fully recovered and in great form, and young Dean Huijsen rising quickly, earning space and even establishing himself as a starter in some games. In other words, the competition is increasing, and Rudiger knows his spot is at risk. But he doesn't want to leave. He doesn't want to give up. He wants to fight, prove himself, and keep wearing white. And here lies the big question. Should Real give Rudiger more contract time, betting on his experience, his leadership, and his fighting spirit? Or is it already time to open space for the new generation of defenders, preparing the future of the backline? This is the typical tough decision, Madridistas, because we all know that Rudiger, when in form, is a wall. Just remember those Champions League games, marking Haaland, shutting down Lukaku, destroying giant strikers. But we also know that time doesn't forgive, and 2026 is right around the corner. And I dropped the bomb for you. Would you renew with Rudiger, even knowing that soon we'll have Konate, Militao, and Huijsen fighting for a spot? Or would you let him go to open room for youth? I want to see the comments catch fire with this controversy. So you already know. Subscribe to the channel now, leave a like, activate the notification bell, and join in the comments. Because here, Madridistas, we live Real Madrid every single day, with passion, with emotion, and with fire in our eyes. The Bernabeu never rests, and neither does our fan base.